Hey, welcome. It's Brian. Today I wanted to take a minute and look at KANAMI'S Pedalboard. She's the guitar player and bandmate. I recently did her Paul Reed Smith signature model video where she kind of talks and plays about her brand new model and the pride that comes with being a pretty rare thing, which is a actual signature model guitar player from Paul Reed Smith. There's some others, but they are huge names, and it's really cool that she's a part of that group of people. So, I thought it'd be fun, with that in mind, to do a pedal board video of hers. And I could not find any video, but I did find a actual picture of it, and it looked pretty recent. So who knows if there's changes. If she's like me, probably things come and go and kind of switch out kind of often, or maybe not. So anyway, let's just look at the picture real quick. I'll talk about it a little bit. There's probably some stuff I have no idea what it is, but that's kind of the fun part. On the far left at the bottom, looks like we have a tuner. It might be a TC Electronics. And then she's got a very cool kind of switching system, which with a board this big, and for a pro player, it's kind of essential to be able to kind of go through as you're doing a song. If you have a lot of effects changes, it just makes it a ton easier and far more streamlined and basically lets you concentrate on the playing. It looks like she's got some kind of volume pedal, or it could even be an expression pedal. Maybe for the, looks like the Digitech drop pedals. Those are kind of like those whammy pedals, but without the actual, pedal part of it, however you want to put that. And then next to it is the Morley Bad Horsey, which is a Steve Vai wah, and that is a switchless wah, meaning you put your foot on, it engages. When you take your foot off, it disengages. I had one like that. It took me a long time to kind of get used to it, and it took up so much space on my small pedal board. I just kind of went to a small mini traditional one. But I totally love that switchless idea. But there is and does take a little bit of time to get the feel of it because it's not completely instantaneous once you put your foot down. And you have to probably really work at it to kind of get that envelope just right when you're engaging it and then letting your foot off so it's not such a drastic change. So I'm sure a pro player like her, that's not a big deal. On the next layer, we have a Eventide H9, which is a multi-effects unit. Really cool thing. I don't know much about it. Those kind of deep programmable things that are digital and lots of emulations of effects, or this might even have amp models in it. I'm not super familiar with it. I just steer clear of. Next to it is a thing called the Free the Tone. So I have no idea what that is. It's got some cool, almost like a traditional Eventide type, like the old harmonizer kind of interface where it has a lot of digital readouts and stuff like that. It makes me think it might be a delay, but I don't know anything about that one. So please put it in the comments if you know anything. Next is the Eventide Time Factor. Super cool, very deep delay with lots of cool stuff, lots of modulation. Mostly delays, but there might be some modulated stuff like chorus and flanger in that. Not completely sure. Right next to that is a tiny little EQ. And that brand I cannot make out, so I do not know what that is. But always good to have a EQ, a graphic EQ that is, and that can really shape the tone almost more than anything else sometimes when you need to kind of push something. And if you have this many pedals sometimes, that's a lot of cable, that's a lot of things to go through. If you need a little like higher end kick or maybe more high mid-range, those things really come in handy. Right next to that is the SP, that exotic. I think that's just basically a preamp, if I remember correct, or that could be kind of the overdrive. I'm not exactly sure anymore, but I love those pedals. Tried a lot of them, kind of moved away from them. And then right next to that, we're moving to the right each time, so we're kind of in the middle section right now. There's some kind of switching system that might be power or just some kind of conduit to help the switcher kind of do a lot of stuff. There is a lot of cabling in this. It's very clean, but there's a lot of cables on this board for sure. Then we have the drop tuner. That's that, I think it might be called the Ricochet, and I think it's DigiDesign. And it's that cool kind of basically harmonizer. You can use it to do like maybe altered tunings. I'm not sure how she would use it. I have the whammy pedal, And I basically use it as a harmonizer. I don't actually use the pedal part, but that is such an iconic pedal, meaning like whether you're Dimebag Darrell, Eddie Van Halen maybe might have used it, Tom Morello from that band, I'm kind of blanking on their name, Rage Against the Machine. He was a big advocate of that. So I think the two comes to mind when I think about the whammy pedal is Tom Morello and Dimebag Darrell. She has two of those, so maybe they are set differently, I would assume. And that's kind of cool. I mean, I'd love to see how she applies them. That would be a fun thing to see, is her walking through this pedal board. If you have that video, if you know that video, that'd be great. This would make this whole thing moot. But anyway, we're going to go to the very top of the pedal board, to the top left. She has some pictures, maybe of a friend or a brother or boyfriend, I'm not sure. That's always sweet and very endearing to see that as well. There is a pedal up top. It looks like it says integrated gate. So that might be a noise gate, and have never seen that pedal before. So, let me know if you know anything about that. And I always have a hard time pronouncing this. Van Muren, is that how you say it? Is it a Japanese company? But I know they're pretty expensive, and they did a really cool tube screamer that I almost bought a couple of times. But I think they have some distortion, maybe a fuzz, and some others. I'm not completely sure, but I definitely know they had a great, cool tube screamer in that same enclosure, 3-knob. And I never bought one, but I thought about it a lot. Right next to that, going towards the right, we have a Friedman pedal. I'm not familiar with that one either. I can just tell, obviously, by the name. Some of those pedals are pretty cool. I've yet to really try any of them, weirdly. I love high gain pedals. It's my thing. Anytime I see something kind of unique that's affordable, I buy them. I usually kind of try them and then move them on, just because I'm pretty particular about it. So anyway, not exactly sure what that Friedman is. It might not be kind of an overdrive / distortion, but I think that's what most of his pedals are, in that drive category. Right next to it is what I believe is a Pete Cornish, and what Pete Cornish is really famous for. In the 70s, if you were in a big band, whether it's Pink Floyd, Judas Priest, or whatever, Iron Maiden, mostly English bands, I believe Pete is English and still alive, and what he would do is take all your favorite pedals and take them out and make you a pedal board the size of a bed, basically, and make it where each little switch had a little ring around it, like a plywood ring, so you could engage it, but there was no chance of, basically something shearing it off, because if you're in a touring band, stuff gets beat up. So what he would normally do, now I believe he has moved on to do his own circuits, but what he was famous for in the 70s, at least, was taking existing pedals and then housing them in this brand new kind of roadworthy kind of pedal board. But this obviously isn't that, and it's an OC1, which I believe would be the Boss Octaver. And I actually saw a video recently, and I thought at first it might be an Octaver, but it was really clean and tracked really well. So I think that's the drop pedal that she was using for kind of harmonizer effects. I'm kind of blanking on what that song was, but it was super cool, and I love great harmonizer effects personally. So cool pedal. Pretty rare to see Pete Cornish stuff anywhere anymore. They are not cheap. It's kind of like all these other brands I knew from the gear page in the 2000s, Tones are. A lot of them I don't ever see. So it's cool to see something unique like the Pete Cornish pedal, and especially on a younger player, and an OC1. So right next to that is the second drop pedal, and I think most likely those two are set differently, and she kind of uses them for different tunes or whatever. And again, they're probably for very specific songs. As fans of the band probably know all of this stuff way better than me. People really, when they love a band like this, they really can drill down into the details. For me, this is just a quick overview of the pedal board. I think it looks amazing. Way too deep for me. I like analog in the sense of I love delay, chorus, and all of that, but I need to turn knobs. And obviously you can do that with all these too, but real time. So I'm a huge drive fan. I have lots of Tube Screamer variants. I've tried many, and then I love fuzz to some degree. One of my favorite dry pedals now is a fuzz, but I've tried many as well. And then I have a whammy pedal, a wah pedal, TC Electronics, one of the old chorus flanger pedals that like Eric Johnson used, and Andy Summers. They did reissues of that. I don't know about that one. I really love those players, but I'm not sure I'll keep that permanently. So if you love pedals, I don't really talk about pedals much because I don't like demoing them because there's so many pedal demos. But sometimes I'd love to, if there was interest enough, I'd love to walk through stuff like what I have. I've had during the pandemic, once the pandemic started, I probably acquired and sold probably a couple hundred. And I have a pedal board with 10 pedals on it. Recently, I kind of sold off probably 30 or 40. I am back up to whatever's on my pedal board, which is around 10, I think. And then I have probably almost a dozen on the shelf over here. And more to come always. I love buying stuff. And like I said, for me, pedals are great. They're a tool. If they don't work, pass them on. I had some collectible stuff, but I recently sold them to buy, guitars and stuff like that. And that's always fun if you can occasionally make a little bit of money on those. Mostly I just lose money. So anyway, Konami's pedalboard. She is a great player. I'm really, really enjoying all the bandmade stuff. I'm probably putting out at least a video a week. And I find these even better because this is more engaging for me to talk about the actual process of making music. Through a player, you kind of get to know them a little more. And after doing probably, like I said, maybe 10 videos so far, I can kind of hear what she's doing effects-wise, which is somewhat minimal. But yet she is using a lot of cool delay stuff, a lot of that kind of dotted 8-note stuff I've heard, and just kind of cool delay sounds, and then obviously overdriven stuff. But that's probably mostly from the amps. So I don't see a lot of drive on here except maybe there's 2 or 3. So with that said, I appreciate you watching this. If you have any input, any other links to videos that would be fun to do, please put them in the comments. I'm Brian. Thanks for joining me. Bye.